Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 10, Episode 4, titled The Last Ball on Earth. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one vexed co-host. From the Patreon side of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap, please say...
Go, baby! No, I'm not going! It's done!
To Evan Ayres. You know what, Evan?
Hi.
That quote has never been more... One of these quotes has never been more apt than today.
Literally, it's so apt, and I feel like I'm going to be hearing that for weeks and weeks to come from people screaming outside of gay bars across the city.
Yeah, so everyone should know Evan and I had some technical difficulties, and so I'm actually even recording Evan's audio coming in through the internet, and not only just technical difficulties, but emotional difficulties. It's been a day. Wouldn't you agree? It's been a day.
My scalp is like a little burned, from my wig being pulled so hard.
You know what I thought you were going to talk about? That reminded me of when I was in college. I was in college. I would got into this thing where I straightened my hair, all the time.
Wig.
Yeah. And I think just because of like my Mexican greasy fucking burrito skin, you don't have curly hair though. So you don't
what
know
is
this.
Burrito skin? Don't do that to yourself.
Burrito skin is my drag name. But let me tell you this. So I got to tell you about this new class that I have. So get this. So what it is, when you straighten your hair, it comes in this, first of all, the best hair straightener, you got to find the one with the blackest girl on it. The blacker the girl, the better the hair straightener. So I'd buy this hair straightener, and it was like a mini chemistry lab when you got it. It was like a box, and it had like a cream, and you had to pour this like liquid into the cream, and then you mixed it with like a popsicle stick, but you had to wear gloves while you did it. And you had to wear gloves when you put this like cream in your hair, and then you had to let it sit for like 20 minutes in your hair, and then you had to like wash it out with a special shampoo. Girl, it's a whole thing, a whole process, right?
What?
But one of the things that they tell you to do, this is where the burrito skin comes in. One of the things that they tell you to do is to put Vaseline around your wig line, your hairline, all around your whole head, or you'll get a rash, right? But I never did that. I never got a rash or anything, or burned, or it never got anything. I would just fucking put it on. Nothing ever happened to me, right? So then I had this very fair-skinned friend in college who liked the way my hair looked when I straightened it. And he was like, you know what? I want to straighten my hair. Can I go to your place and you'll help me straighten my hair? I was like, sure thing. I've done it. I'm good at it. So he comes over and he goes, it says to put Vaseline around my hairline. I'm like, nah. But girl.
Who needs it?
Who needs it? We put it in this guy's head. His whole fucking forehead is burned. His neck is burned. We have to we almost have to call the paramedics. Fucking white people with your goddamn fucking sensitive skin. The thing with white people, they can take over the world, but they go achoo and they die.
Literally. Well, it's funny you say that because I used to, last summer, for like 7 or 8 months, I had bleached my hair blonde, and then I had the silver Draco Malfoy moment. And I oddly really enjoyed. I never needed Vaseline because my skin it never really burnt, or I never had that problem.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I would go to do it, they would bring out this the big tub of Vaseline. I was like, oh no, I'm good. And they would be like, no, sweetie, you need this. I was like, no, I'm fine. And you could tell the fear in their face that they thought I was gonna get burned and sue these poor people, and they're gonna be without a job. That was tough. So I actually do know what that feels like, but it never hurt me. So we have something in common for once today.
What would you say? Let me ask you this question. What is when you go get your hair, first of all, do you go to Supercuts or Fantastic Sam's or any of these places? Where do you get your hair cut?
Please. No, so I go to this Eurotrash hair salon in DC. Sometimes I let Dan cut my hair if he wants to do the sides, but when I need an actual wig lift, I'll go to this little it's a salon where it's people who are too good for Supercuts, but they maybe went to beauty school, but they didn't finish or something, you know what I mean? But they're really good, and it's super cheap. So I'm easy.
Here's the deal. I've paid for the expensive ones, and then I've done the Fantastic Sam's, and it's just Because with my hair, it's so burrito Mexican hair. I have burrito skin and burrito hair. Everything's burrito. Okay. That it doesn't justify the triple price. Does that make sense? And then it just doesn't justify it. So it's a slightly better cut, but not worth the 3 times the price that it would be at a Fantastic Sense. But that's not why everyone's here, Evan Ayres. Everyone's here because they want to talk about this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. They want to hear how we've been. It's been a week since they've heard us on the air. Oh, by the way, the people are probably still wondering, where's Taylor the Latte Boy? So... Who? Taylor the Latte Boy, he's my co-host, usually on this show. Now, let me tell you, this Taylor the Latte Boy, he amuses me so much. He's still recovering. He's resting. He'll probably be back next week. But it's so funny because he's so weak right now from the surgery that he had. And he'll call me and go like, hello, hello, hello. And I always laugh. And it makes me, I feel badly that I laugh, but it makes me laugh. He'll go like, hello, hello, hello. Let me tell you this. Last week, he told me he was going to be here the next week. And I thought it was ambitious. And so just as I suspected, he was too weak to come back this week. But he swears he will be on it next week. And so, Evan, enjoy your time here while it lasts. But I'm happy to have you, Evan. And how have you been? What's going on? What news can you share with us?
Well, I just realized that I now know what it feels like to be Naysha Lopez.
Why is that?
To be brought back because I get to do something for a very short amount of time and then only to be sent home again.
The beauty.
But is gone. Was never here.
Well, did she say the beauty
great,
or did she say the beauty has arrived?
No, she said the beauty's here.
Oh, she said the beauty's here. I will say, she sat right in front of me at the finale, and she is pretty beautiful. She's very fishy.
Oh, she's gorgeous. I don't doubt that. She looked amazing when she was eliminated, but yeah, what did she say? She was like, "Oh, I'm stunning and gorgeous and did I say gorgeous?" It's like, all right, we get it. Like you're.
But by the way, pretty. When was the last time, or when was the time that a beautiful queen, Tyra? Who's the last beautiful queen that won?
I mean, Violet, I think, is stunning.
Let me ask you this: have you ever had?
But what's beauty, first of all? While we're here,
you know what I mean. But like, look, queens. I guess Violet. Yeah. Let me ask you this question: what are your thoughts on this Violet porn?
You bring this up a lot, and I've never seen it. I've heard I know so many people that have seen it, and that they all have the same thing where they literally they'll describe it frame by frame as if I've never seen porn before. So I know what goes on in it, but I've never seen it, and I've heard that it's kind of like difficult to find. I'm sure you have it, but
it's not that difficult to find anymore. It was difficult to find for a while. It's not anymore.
Yeah, okay.
But let me tell you this: this Violet Chachki, she doesn't look that good in it. Let me tell you that she doesn't look that good in it. But you know what she can be. Does that make sense? Like you're seeing, oh, okay, I know what she can look like. And I think that's what it is. I see the beauty. I go, oh, I know what's possible. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see the Facebook profile picture of. Did that make any sense? That wasn't a good joke. I'm sorry.
This week, the girls all don their best photobomb couture and then participate in a ball challenge serving 3 looks each. Aquaria won the challenge while Dusty Ray Bottoms and Monet Exchange were placed in the bottom 2. After a lip-sync battle for their lives, Monet Exchange was told, "Shantae, you stay," while Dusty Ray Bottoms was told, "Never loved ya," and asked to sashay away. Evan Ayres, named 2 things you liked about the episode and 1 thing you did not.
2 things that I liked. I don't know what this is. 2 things I liked. I loved that we get a ball challenge so early on in the season. Mm-hmm. I love that we got 33 looks and that for the most part they were all pretty impressive. I love the runway, and I think that's personally it's my favorite part of the show. So for me that was really exciting, and it was nice to have like a full almost 40 minutes of just that segment.
Okay.
So I liked that, and I really thought it was a great lip sync. Which is always if there's an arguably climax for the show, a good lip sync sometimes can make or break an episode, and I thought it was very good. Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, one thing I didn't like as a result of the runway being such a heavy presence, or like, taking up so much time, it was just kind of apparent that bits and pieces in like the middle act of the show, like after the mini challenge, you could tell they were just kind of like filling it with whatever they could get. I made some comment. I thought it reminded me of like when there's nothing going on in the news and like you just like turn on and you're having dinner and it's like they're reporting about like the two gay penguins that like maybe are going to move into the new igloo together, but they're still like testing it out. You're like, oh, nothing's going on if this is what they're showing. I just think you could tell that they were looking for space to fill, which was fine, not a complaint, but it was distracting.
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked me, Evan. I'll tell you what I liked and what I didn't like. I loved everything about RuPaul's look. And when they would cut to her, when the queen would say, like, I know Ru was gagging for my look, and they would just cut to her just in that outfit with the glass, you could just no expression on her face. I thought it was funny every single time. It must have killed in a bar. People must have been dying. I loved RuPaul's look. I think it might be one of my top 5 favorite RuPaul looks. Not gonna lie.
I can see that.
Okay.
I wonder if it was even RuPaul.
It may not have been RuPaul. Yeah, she was sick, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe someone was playing RuPaul. Next, I also loved the lip sync as well. That was a really good lip sync, a good song. They both did a good job. They were both trying their hearts out. You could tell they both liked each other. It was a good lip sync. It was a very, very solid lip sync. I was a fan. What I did not like, and I love how you and I are going to repeat this conversation, I am so over the terrible puns. Now, in an episode when there's only 11 looks, I can handle the puns, But when you're doing a thing where now I have to hear 33, actually 99, because they'll do like 3 shitty puns per look of these shitty puns, I was ready to jump out a window.
And I was audibly laughing at more than half of them at least. That was something I was going to put that on my top 2 things that I liked, but I knew it would drive you bonkers.
Well, no, it wouldn't. Look, you're entitled to your opinion. We don't have to agree with each other. After Yuha's elimination, Mayhem is committed to performing well in the competition. Asia is proud of her win, and Monique is upset that Mayhem threw Monique under the bus during the judges' critiques. The next day, RuPaul entered the workroom to announce this week's mini challenge.
So, for today's mini challenge, you need to perfect the art of the celebrity photobomb. Using state-of-the-art technology, you'll insert yourself into famous photos. And the queen with the most memorable shot will win.
RuPaul named Aquaria as the winner of the challenge, and pit crew alum Sean Morales delivered the prize. Immediately after Sean left, RuPaul announced this week's Maxi Challenge.
For this week's Maxi Challenge, you'll be competing in the last ball on Earth.
Gagging.
Now, you need to serve 3 lurks. First lurk, Alaskan winter realness. Think sexy bikini, fun in the sun. Second lurk, Miami summer realness. Something furry to keep you from freezing your muff off. Getting it now, right?
I got it.
Third lurk, Martian eleganza extravaganza. Glamour couture that will slay the runway on your new home planet, Mars.
All right, Evan, before we even start talking about the mini challenge, before we talk about anything else, what were your thoughts on seeing the return, at least temporarily, of Sean Morales?
My attention was focused on the Postmates bag because I was wondering what Aquaria was going to order. What is Aquaria ordering Postmates with? That girl doesn't eat. I'm kidding. Cut.
That's not being cut.
I was never obsessed with this Sean guy. I don't know. The mustache just kind of ruined it for me.
But there were a lot of queens that were, and one of the rumors is that he was fired because he wouldn't use deodorant. He smelled really badly.
Shut up.
Yeah,
that's real.
That's a rumor.
The rumor. That's funny. Ruth's comment though about how it was weird you don't recognize them with clothing on is kind of funny. But yeah, he's, again, I was more fixated on Postmates and wondering if I was going to order food for myself because I knew I had a 2-hour episode to get through and I hadn't had dinner.
Now let me ask you this question. What were my thoughts on Sean Morales? I'm with you on Sean Morales. I'm like, I've never understood the big obsession with Sean Morales. I don't get. I mean, I think he's a nice looking guy, but then I think I always heard the rumor about him smelling, and that kind of I just imagine it.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny though? Talking about smells and fucking is I hooked up with a guy fairly recently, right? Who was very attractive. Okay. And when he took his shirt off and I started going down on him, he had like really strong BO, but it was one of these things where like when you're in the heat of the moment, that's like kind of hot, but then as soon as we were done, I was like, ugh, even now thinking about it, ugh.
Well, yeah, I think it is pretty hot actually. But it's one of those things where it's like, have you seen that? It's on the internet where it's like, oh, when you're sexting someone in the moment, you don't think about it. And then after like you finish and you read it back, you're like disgusted with yourself.
Oh, I've said this. I used to do this in my stand-up act. This was a part of it, but I used to talk about how no one is more I'm like fucking Mike Pence after I come. I'm like, I did what? With a man? Which is so funny when I watch porn and the guy comes and then the other person comes like in his face or in his mouth, and I was like, no. Not happening.
Don't touch me, look away.
Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way. Okay, so let's go. So Mayhem, Monique. We already covered this already in in Untucked from last week. But did you have any lingered into the next episode? Do you have any thoughts on that, Evan?
I mean, they not really. I think Monique was probably justified in feeling a little shafted, but she also like admitted that she was a micromanager and that, she said that like she's flat out. She's like, yeah, I probably overstepped my boundaries. So I don't think she should have been. I don't think she should have been surprised that someone was, gonna kind of come for her. If I was on the main stage and up for elimination, I would probably do the same thing, especially if that person's not up there.
What were your thoughts on the mini challenge?
Mini challenge was funny. I didn't understand it at first, and then they started showing the actual bits. The most memorable part of that challenge for me was when Monique Hart was up, and she was saying, "I'm going to grab one of the Jonas Brothers' bulges," and she's doing like little pinchy fingers. Mm-hmm. Did you catch that?
No.
I always thought it was very funny. She kills me. Blair was really good, and Miss Cracker could wear that hair every day, and I probably wouldn't be tired of it. So I thought she was justifiably the winner there. No, she didn't win. Was it Aquaria?
Aquaria won.
Aquafina did win. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. But yeah, it was good. It was funny. It was
I thought
typical.
They were all actually pretty funny.
Back from a Drag Race. What?
I thought they were all pretty funny. Okay. Now we just talked about the Maxi Challenge. Did you have any specific thoughts about the Maxi Challenge? Was any before we get it? I mean, we're obviously going to cover it in the looks, but do you have any thoughts as to the fact that there was a ball and there were 33 looks and whatnot?
I mean, it was great to watch, but like that's so ambitious. Like, how long do you think that took to film?
Oh my god!
And like, I mean, and again, we can talk about this later, but like the one thing that I noticed I was like, why are all of them like so many of them like had face masks, or there was like some, it fit the theme of like space or Martians, but you could tell they were just totally like probably encouraged to do that because they didn't have they had to do 3 looks within a certain amount of time, and it's just easier to throw some shit over your face and like make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it was as a viewer, I was really into it. But if I was competing on that show, I probably would have had a mini meltdown. Yeah, we just weren't expecting that. They never do these challenges this early in the season.
No. But I think I actually read so people online are finding parallels between, in other words, the people, the producers and the people making the show are really doing very subtle callbacks to previous episodes. And so I remember this ball specifically has a sort of mild throwback to like, is it season 4 or season 3? I don't know, one of the old seasons. And they did a ball this early on that season as well. I mean, you might know that. Did season 3 have a ball early on, or season?
It wasn't space theme. It was just a ball.
Yeah, I think one of them had a theme early on. I don't remember.
I don't remember. I do. There was the space like challenge in season 3, but I don't think that was a ball. I'd have to.
But going to the mall. Have they ever had a space theme before? I remember some subtle throwback in the ball theme that people were like, oh, that's like kind of this old season.
Well, there was the end of the world bit, which was like the apocalyptic couture of season 4.
See, there you go. I think that's what it was.
Apocalyptic.
I think you're right. All right, moving on. In the workroom, the girls work on their ball looks. Monet stands by her sponge dress. Cracker wants another win. The girls yell out, Miss Vanjie. Asia O'Hara is the Black Martha Stewart. Eureka breaks every zipper. Dusty hurts herself, and Aquaria doesn't seem to be making an outfit, just like Gandhi. During the table visits with Rue, Asia lists her family members. The Vixen reveals her reputation back in Chicago. Blair admits she looks young. Monet Exchange talks about her wigs. And Aquaria drops a phrase for the trailer.
Some girls in the workroom chose to read books. I chose to turn looks.
That, my friend, will be in the promo. Let's see if you could do it one more time. Okay.
Some girls in the workroom tried. Some girls in the workroom chose to turn look. Oh, boy.
I was like doing a show with Evan. All right, so in a weird kind of way,
How can you read me before I could even read it? I was literally about to say that.
I was, it's weird because writing this segment, there wasn't really any clip to pull, but yet a bunch of tiny little moments happened. None of them worth pulling. But what were your thoughts on everything I just said about everything that happened in the workroom?
I had two things that stood out to me of this little segment. One, this was the longest the longest table visits that we've seen on Drag Race in a long time. Like in previous seasons, you may get like 30 seconds with Rue, and they're just, they'll use it to set up who's going to be in the top and bottom. We got like full backstories. We've got bits of like Asia's IMDb page or whatever of like who she's designed for. We got everything, and which is like fine. I'm here for character development, but the one thing that stood out to me through that was how we talked about this last week, but how much alike Aquaria is to Sharon Needles. Like it's like the way she speaks and the way that you can tell she's like working on these like clever little puns, and she's just every time she comes on the screen, I see bits and pieces more of why they're connected. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Well, I feel I see it, but whenever I hear Aquaria, I feel she sounds like Willem. Let me play that clip again, but now listen to that in mind. I feel she sounds like Willem. Hold. Oh wait, no, we're here. Duh.
Some girls in the workroom chose to read books. I chose to turn looks.
That, my friend, will be in the promo. Let's see if you could do it one more time. Okay.
Some girls in the workroom tried. Some girls in the workroom chose to turn look. Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm gonna go. It takes a while for the soundboard to move, but I don't think I really have that many. Oh, here, I found it. Here we go.
Your tone seems very pointed right now.
You don't think that sounds like Aquaria?
No, they do. Did you hear me gasp when it was an isolated vocal that when she's like, I don't turn looks, or I don't read books, I turn looks? That literally, that could have been Willem, I thought.
Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna play Willem one more time, then we'll go back to Aquaria.
Your tone seems very pointed right now.
Okay, now I want to go to Aquaria.
Some girls in the workroom chose to read books. I chose to turn looks.
Yeah, I think they sound very similar, but looks wise, yeah, there's a lot of Sharon Needles there. A lot of Sharon Needles. All right, it's elimination. Did you touch everything you wanted? Not touch everything you wanted. Did you touch on everything you wanted to talk about in the?
Yeah. This was kind of, you could just, it was a lot of filler backstories. I thought it was I nothing like nothing was profound. You knew that like everything that was coming up afterwards was going to be the big part of the show. So I wasn't as engaged. If that makes any sense.
It's elimination day and the girls are having their mirror moments. Blair sees Asia like a mother figure. Cracker is worried that her outfit is too simple. Dusty's wig may not show up on the runway. That was a thing that never happened, actually. Monique has a panic attack and Cracker asks Aquaria a question that's been on her mind.
Here's something I want to ask you because it's come up a couple times. I've overheard people saying like, oh, well, you know, Aquaria, she has sugar daddies. You know, everything for her is paid for.
Is this someone in this workroom or is this someone in New York City?
Yeah, in New York City. Why do you think that is out there? Why do you think people are saying that?
If you look like $1 million, people might assume that you come from $1 million.
Right.
I guess people assume that it is expensive. That's definitely a misconception that really bugs me a lot.
Right.
Everything I have worked for, and I built myself from the ground up.
Right.
You bitch.
I don't want to imply that I don't want a sugar daddy. If anyone would like to be a sugar daddy for me.
Would you be Cracker sugar daddy, Evan?
I'd be Cracker's like Splenda-ish, but like the pink packet. I have like just enough maybe.
I don't need to build from the ground up.
Right?
I admire Aquaria, but that is not a look I'm trying to steal. Because
if you can't shade yourself, how the hell are you going to shade somebody else?
All right. Later, Monet exchanged schools to children on received pronunciation.
What accent?
See, I didn't understand anything you just said.
Well, bitch, what do you do when you got an accent? That's like telling an English person not to have an accent.
They don't have an accent. They speak English.
Let me give y'all a little history lesson. You know, the people in England, they sounded like us, a.k.a. Americans. Then they got the accent when they went there. People think it's the other way around.
Wait, Monet, I love you, but that's not how it works.
That is how it works, and I'll tell you that. Like people in the UK, they used to sound like this.
And then what happened?
Then I don't know what happened, then they got the British accent.
Lies and fairy tales. Who told you that?
My teachers.
Their accent changed.
Because they moved over there. I mean, I'm saying, no. Hold on. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get y'all real quick. We all sounded like this, like the American accent. And then I don't know what happened, but then they all got the British accent. I don't know how.
You know that the Queen
Of England.
sent them over here.
I know, and
Okay.
then they got a British accent over like years of like you're adjusting and like
Mother
Adjusting
and,
to
like,
what?
evolution, bitch.
Lies,
No,
fairy
okay.
tales, fallacies.
That's
Okay, Evan Ayres. We're gonna break this down in little pieces here. First, Cracker and the Aquaria question about the sugar daddy. Your thoughts?
Cracker's so clever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, genuinely so funny. And that
Wait,
moment
who
where
just
she like
yelled
kind
in
of
the
breaks
background?
the fourth wall and looks directly into the camera.
Who just
Whether
yelled in
or
the
not that was
background?
planned or
Hey,
not,
are you
like-
hearing me?
What's that?
Who's yelling in the background?
Oh, crackhead.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. It's just another day in the neighborhood here in good old DC. I mean, you can tell that like this kind of reinforces what we were saying before, that they're both in on the joke, that they're gonna be pitted against each other. They're gonna push that story, but you can tell like, they're actually like decently good friends. So I thought it was very funny. And again, Cracker's little moment where she like looks right into the camera and addresses all the sugar daddies of America. I'm sure she'll be getting some phone calls tonight.
Oh,
I thought it was clever.
so be Cracker's sugar daddy.
He's so cute. Like, is he cute? Not that like this is really important discussion, but I'm kind of into it.
I'm into it. I mean, yeah, he's cute. I would make a few. There are a few things that I think that are wrong, but I think it's because of his drag queenness. Like, he has like a little man bun, right?
Yeah, it's some weird little like guy up there.
Yeah,
I've noticed that once.
I may have a problem with that, but other than that, no, I'm into it. Yeah. Big fan. Now, I mentioned other thing. I mentioned about Blair seeing Asia like a mother figure. Cracker is worried about her outfit being too simple. Did you have any thoughts on any of those moments?
Well, the Asia, they kind of set that up for what's to come later, and it's interesting because I didn't get that impression from Asia right off the bat in terms of you would assume it would be a queen like Eureka or someone who's kind of been through this before. I makes me like Asia a lot more. Not that I didn't care for her, but it's nice that someone could be that selfless in a competition that is so cutthroat. But we kind of see how that pays out for her. And Cracker's concern about her outfits being too simple. I didn't think they were simple, but it's also I think she has an awareness that, it's kind of like, oh, when you're that queen that's in the workroom, it's like, oh, this is the best, thing that's ever going to walk down the runway. It's typically not.
Okay, let's talk about Monet Exchange and on her commentary. What she's talking about, it's called received pronunciation, is what it's called. What were your thoughts on that? Where do you fall on this side? Do you believe Monet Exchange, or do you think she's wrong?
I believe Monet Exchange is very wrong. Monet Exchange was not turning looks or reading books this episode. But does she really believe that?
It's true.
What Monet Exchange was saying?
Yeah. So now
really?
She's mostly true. She's mostly right. So the founding fathers and when they came over from England, it wasn't like they didn't sound like me. It was probably closer to a Southern accent, not quite the Southern accent. Obviously, the Southern drawl exaggerated it. I would imagine kind of maybe like, I don't know. I have to talk to a linguist. I don't know any linguists, but it was British people talked much closer to the way we do now. Or much closer to maybe like a highfalutin Southern person than they did the way they do now. There was some sort of thing called received pronunciation where their accent, like in the 1800s, evolved where they dropped the R's, and it was some sort of weird trend. I don't understand. Linguists are kind of interested in this, but yes, British people didn't sound like the way they do now back in the Revolutionary days. They sounded not quite, but much closer to the way Americans sound now. So basically, the American accent is an evolution of the way the British used to sound.
Somewhere listening to that, you remember Max, how he would always do that fake Madonna accent?
Yeah.
I was just thinking of Max the whole time, how he would always... There's a lot of British talk this season, but whenever someone does British, I just remember Max and how off-putting that was that he did. But I did not know that, and I feel like I should have known that. I'm a little shook.
Okay. Over on Patreon, Evan and I will continue our discussion after the show in the Form Decor Lounge. The Rumor Mill returns from a hiatus, and designers Natalie and Javi will return for a 3-episode series to perform deep analysis on all 33 looks from this week's ball. To learn more, visit patreon.com/Drag Race Recap. That's patreon.com/Drag Race Recap. And sign up at the $1 or $2 level to access these shows and more. And now, it's time for the looks.
Put the bass in your walk, head to toe, let your whole body talk.
Evan Ayres. Well, if it isn't Evan Ayres, how you doing, kitty girl?
Well, I do declare, nobody cares. That was good. Hi.
Okay, so give me, you know, I'm going to do a deep dive this week, all 33 looks with Natalie and Javi. But I do want to hear, did you have some big takeaways, some big toots and some big boots from all 33 looks? Give me some of your favorites. Give me some of your least favorites.
So a big toot was Rue. I will give you credit for that, or I will agree with you on that. I thought Rue looked incredible. I think that the judges got it right this week. I thought every time Aquaria walked out, I was very excited.
But I feel like the episode
with what?
I feel like the episode kind of built up to it seeming like Aquaria was going to do poorly.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, you know, like that, because she did get a little bit extra time, and it just as much like for Aquaria, I thought the same for Cracker. I thought Cracker was gonna flop. I thought she looked amazing too. That first look with the hair bikini, she's I actually was expecting that to be a joint win for some reason.
Okay,
did you get that impression?
I wouldn't have been surprised. I thought the win was going to go to Cracker, to be honest with you, because she did that thing with her dad said that if you need to win twice, which I was like, she has some daddy issues.
She brought up her dad before?
No, but she was like, my dad said that if you don't win twice or something, you need to win twice or something like that. It sounded weird.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what were some other big toots that you liked?
Other big toots. Cameron Michaels, for being as kind of invisible as her character remains to be, she knows how to. She is a look queen. For me this season, at least. That second look of hers was very, 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 very strong, I thought. And then even Eureka knows what Eureka is a good ass drag queen. That was her third of the series. I thought was very impressive. I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
One of them said, I think it was Monique Hart, when she was like, "Oh, and I saw this at the store." She was referring to like what a part of what she was wearing.
The fur.
They didn't have to make coat. Yeah, they didn't have to make all three of these, right?
No, I get the impression they only had to make the Mars one.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was thinking. Because when she said that, I was like, did they get to go shopping or something? Sometimes they do like the silly dumpster diving thing. But yeah, I was a little confused by that. But with that being said, the middle of the road, like the ones that were safe, I think were all not very safe. The only really major boot that I had was unfortunately Monet Exchange. And even she thought, I love Monet because she literally thought that she was going to win that challenge. If you've seen Untucked, she's like genuinely shocked. But
yeah, well, but
there's just so many. I'm sitting here, I can't. Go ahead.
The other queen seemed shocked
that she didn't win.
Yeah, they were telling her, they're like, we thought you were going to win.
All right, I don't know about that. I will say, the other one that was in the bottom, Dusty Ray Bottoms, her looks were very well done. She looked incredible. It just wasn't, my understanding was it just wasn't really on the theme, or like, it's just kind of annoying or frustrating because she looked really good all three go rounds.
I thought her looks were kind of basic. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I loved? I just thought of this. I loved that we have a new era of Ornacia from Asia O'Hara.
How so?
That thing on her head.
I don't remember what was on her head. I'll see it in detail when we go over it. But so what were there any what were your big boots? Your big toots. So your big toots were Cracker, Aquaria, anybody else?
Big toot was Aquaria's first look, Cracker's first look, Cameron Michaels' third look was a big toot, and Eureka's the final look I thought was a big toot. And then boots I had, one more. The Vixen's first look, that fan.
Oh yeah.
That was cool. And it was funny because they've used that in the promos, but you could never really see it. And so in my mind, it was going to be super basic or not interesting. And I thought that was really, really clever. But at the same time, her third look, I thought was a boot. Vixen's, her Martian one. I did not love really anything that Mayhem Miller wore either. Like, cause I have Mayhem Miller for the runway theme this week as well. And what's the other boot? Yeah, Monet Exchange's last one was not great, in my opinion. I think they got it right in terms of who was in the bottom and who was in the top.
All right, that was the looks.
No.
During the judges' critiques, Cameron Michaels, Aquaria, and Ms. Cracker got top marks, while Monet Exchange, Dusty Ray Bottoms, and Asia O'Hara were on the bottom three. Let's say in the bottom three. In the end, Dusty Ray Bottoms and Monet Exchange were pitted head-to-head in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song by Nicki Minaj. All right, Evan, so you were a big fan of this lip sync, correct?
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell me what were your thoughts. Because you know what? The problem when I'm watching this is I'm trying to take notes and I'm trying to watch it at the same time. So there was like a big moment. Maybe you can tell me what happened where like Monet did something, they all laughed and lived for it. What was it?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for me, like when I know a lip, or what to me counts as a lip sync being like special is when Ru just loses his crap and like can't keep it together. And there was a moment where Monet, he kind of like gets ready and he starts to jump up as if he's going to jump into a split. And he's like, but he like doesn't do it. And he's like, no, like F that. Like alluding that he would never actually be able to do like a split. But Ru just lost her mind for it. It was very funny. So you didn't catch that?
I figured it was something like that, but now was Dusty just as good?
I know it was very apparent that Monet was gonna cream her. Like 20 seconds in, for me at least, I could tell. But obviously she kept up because Ru felt the need to commend them both. But I think it's Nicki is such a very specific song. Or it's just like Dusty talked about it in Untucked. He was like, I could sing every word of this song on the street, but under this pressure, like he kind of like didn't always get the words. You could see bits where like he kind of fumbled the lyrics, and Monet was just on more than he was. I think she won that fair and square.
All right. Well, after lip sync battle for their lives, Monet X Change was told Shantae you stay, while Dusty Ray Bottoms was asked to sashay away. Evan, any final thoughts on the episode?
Final thoughts on the episode. I was really sad to see Dusty go. I don't know how you feel about her, but I thought that I think she's made a very memorable impact on the season, her as a character at least, and I was kind of sad for her. But I think it was a fair decision, a fair elimination. And yeah, it was this is a really, really great season so far. And it'll be interesting to see how things progress in terms of when there are less and less queens, but I'm really enjoying that. I feel like every single person except Cameron is really getting, their TV time,
Yeah, it's weird that Cameron still has not gotten any television time. So we can spill a little bit of tea here. It's not really tea, but it's weird that the elimination order has been mildly mixed up from the predictions. We're not spilling any future tea here, but we're going backwards. In all the rumors and speculation about eliminations, it was supposed to be Calorie then Vanjie, right? But it was switched. And same thing in this next block. It was supposed to be Dusty then Yuha, right? But it turned out to be the opposite. So I wonder why these elimination orders are like a little off. They're a little switched around. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it could be one of two things. It could either be an intentional kind of thing that, again, this goes into the whole theory if the producers or WoW actually has any involvement in these rumors, or it could just be like, I think one person probably knew who the first 4 or 5 out were, and little bits and stories, rumors start flying, and you can get, because it really has just been reversed. You know what I mean? The first 4 to go, they just swapped the order. So it'll be interesting to see if next week and following, if that continues to be the case or not. I don't know. I like it though, because it's kept me on my toes. I love when rumors aren't right, because then it actually shocks me.
Okay, so let's go. Let's move on now. So I'm looking at my notes. I don't really have any final thoughts on the episode. Let me see here. I mean, here's the deal. When you're doing a recap show, you want to you don't want to focus on drama. The easiest thing to focus on is drama, and there wasn't really any drama on the main episode, but it was all about the looks, which we're going to cover on Patreon. Because guys, honestly, don't do this shit where you're like, Joe's holding all the good stuff for Patreon. Honestly, if we sat here and went through every fucking goddamn look, you would throw your phone out the window. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't Evan? Am I wrong here?
No, and that's why, there's absolutely not. I'm barely qualified to speak for. No, there's no way.
But even when we're doing the Patreon one, we're gonna break it up into 3 episodes, like 3 20-ish minute episodes, because it's just talk. Especially when you don't have the looks in front of you, it's very, very difficult.
Well, there were. I'm genuinely serious. Like when I was fumbling there, I could not think of half of what those looks like. They just all kind of blur together. There were so many.
Yeah. Later on Untucked, the Vixen and Eureka had a heated discussion about interrupting. Now, we're going to do our usual Untucked moment stuff here, which is we pretty much pull a whole segment, and then we'll stop as we need to stop. But here we go. We're going to start it.
I had to Jimmy rig that thing.
When I saw your 10-man coat, bitch, I just knew you was going to be in the bottom.
No, I love that coat.
But it worked.
So who was talking? It's Monique, Eureka, and Vixen talking, right?
Correct.
And I loved your concept. I love the concept of you coming astronaut couture and then turning me all right, I'm ready to party.
But see, you get that type of drag way better than I do because you're a very crafty queen.
We sitting too close because I'm in there. I'm in there.
What are you talking about?
But
I don't get the craftiness.
I don't know.
The
I
whole
think it was
point
just a good idea.
The concept was
okay. Why?
I want to stop right here. Not that I'm a big defender of Eureka, but I kind of feel once the Vixen's gone, I don't know when that's going to be, but once the Vixen's gone, we're going to find out that Monique is kind of a shit stir, and but just the Vixen overshadows her in terms of fighting.
Yes. Every time something goes down, you can literally hear her screaming and whooping in the back.
She's screaming,
not really
she's
stirring
whooping.
the pot, but she's
she's really upset that Eureka said she's a crafty queen, which I don't think that was an insult.
No.
Let's move on.
Can we please strike the word negative from the record? Because it does something to me that I just cannot.
Well, then don't be. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
Nobody's being negative, but we disagree with what you're saying. That's not negative. That's a disagreement.
Anyway, we're safe. Praise God. Amen. You look stunning. I love you.
Okay, what are your thoughts on that so far?
It sounds like the Charlie moment from season 9 where her and Eureka kind of get a little snippet, but again, you don't poke the bear. I think they know at this point that just take anything lightly. So, no, not smart for the Eureka.
Okay, here we go.
No shade.
I still think I should have been top 3. I just have to throw that out there.
I'm happy I'm safe. I'm happy. But I've won and I've been safe 3 times. So I don't really know. I know that they get it. Please let me finish. I know that they get it, but tell me something. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of?
Very that.
So then what we're seeing, this is very visual, but Eureka is now noticing that Monique is allowed to sort of interrupt her. She gets more politeness from the Vixen than when Eureka talks to her. But here we go.
I mean, the fact that they want us to go on. What?
Go ahead. No, finish.
I feel like
Eureka, Monique just interrupted the Vixen, and the Vixen was just calm about it. But when Eureka got kind of snapped at. Am I wrong here, Evan?
Yeah. No, you're very right. And she
maybe right now
she touched her, and she wasn't having it.
They want us to go on. We should just take it as a good thing.
Very, very that. That is another thought. Did you hear that?
It's still very. Do y'all hear me?
I'm getting tired of hearing you talk. Honestly, can I go smoke?
So what do you think was happening there? Well, we're gonna find out. But what was your take? What's really happening, Evan?
I think what's really happening is that Eureka really just is it's all about Eureka, and it's the Eureka show in my mind, I think. And she was genuinely probably upset that she thought she should be in the top, but she lacks the awareness to realize that she's literally complaining about not being in the top when she was in the top last week, and she's in a room with someone else who was just in the bottom. I think she just word vomits, and she doesn't know when to kind of pull back. Mm-hmm. And so she saw the Vixen and Monique probably seeming like they were not ganging up on her, but she noticed that Monique was kind of getting a kinder response to kind of cutting her off. But I don't think the vixen was wrong for being annoyed with her. You know, Eureka's annoying.
If you need to go smoke, just
Yeah.
say that. You did not
Thanks.
have.
I ain't even arguing. I'm big as hell, and I want to go smoke a cigarette. And I'm gonna go smoke me a cigarette. You coming with?
I'll go with you.
Thank you.
You know, it's one of these things where the vixen's getting into it with everybody, so she does not get the benefit of this doubt. But I'm almost going to give Eureka is that they're just so tired. Remember, we just said they each had to bring 3 looks. They must be fucking exhausted. And they're just on each other's nerves because they're so fucking tired. And their day's not even over yet. Yeah, their day's not even over. You know, so it must be they must be so exhausted.
I just feel like you have more respect for other people than me.
I don't think it's fair that you get to say that and then walk away.
I don't think it's fair that you get to be respectful to other people more than you are me, and I've been nothing but nice to you, and even get ready beside you, girl.
Mean to you?
Girl, she can say or do the exact same thing that I say or do, and
First
you
of
act
all,
like she
I
didn't do.
am not your mother. I
What do you
not
mean?
owe you. I do not owe
What the
you.
you bitch?
Because
you ain't
you
my
acting
mama.
like I have to baby
Oh,
you.
bye,
You're a
sis.
grown-ass man.
Really?
That's a weird argument if you actually think about it. If Eureka's asking for respect from Vixen, and Vixen comes back with, I am not your mama, that doesn't actually make any logical sense. You say, I am not your mama, or I'm not your mother, when the person wants you to actually take care of them. Like, why didn't you wake me up for school? Or why didn't you pack my lunch? Or why, like the things that you would expect a mother to do. But I think it's common courtesy to ask for respect. But again, we've seen it, and we saw this last week. We saw this last week on Untucked, where the vixen has these little tricks in her bag that she does to whenever she's like, okay, so Aquaria runs out of the room where she cries whenever she's trapped in a corner, and then the vixen has she's changed her name to the victim. Okay, trademark Joe Betance and RuPaul's Drag Race recap. Instead of the vixen, she should be called the victim, because she has these little tricks in her bag where she becomes like, I'm not your mother, but she's just saying that because she realizes that that's what you can say, because it shuts a conversation down. It makes it seem like you're being childish. But if you actually think about the logic of the argument, that doesn't make any sense to what Eureka said. When Eureka says, why can you not afford me the same respect that you afford Monique? And then she comes back with, I am not your mother. You expect everyone to treat everyone with equal respect, not just mothers. Okay? So, Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it on the head there. I never even thought that, or like kind of that never crossed my mind. I thought she said, I'm not your mother, because she was like trying to push her buttons, because she talked 2 weeks ago about her mom being sick or something.
Really, girl?
Any more than
you just
anybody
want someone
else.
to fight with.
I don't need to fight with you. You are picking this fight right now. This is my problem with you, is that when you're
What
not
problem?
getting your way,
What
then
problem?
somebody's being negative.
So are you.
You and Aquaria are in
You're the same way. Don't put me in the same boat.
What the is your problem right now? Are you serious?
What's your
You know what?
problem?
You are exactly the girl that I did not like on season 9.
Again, like a weird trick. She definitely goes towards the she attacks people's character right away. Like, so she knows that's gonna hurt Eureka's feeling. Like
And I've been trying to deal with that
You don't know
and
me,
see
girl.
the good in you. But you know what? You are another bitch who doesn't know when to let somebody else talk. You think that your problems are the only
Really?
problems?
Okay.
Bitch, get your together.
Some says one negative thing and you want to the out.
I've been so patient with you.
Okay.
You did not have to go there. You
Really?
cleaned the out.
Really?
Fine. I
Cuss
gave
at me,
you
bitch. I do
No,
love as a
yeah.
person.
Go
And maybe.
have your
No,
cigarette,
I'm not
bitch, because
going.
it's done.
okay, this is where when they went to commercial and then they came back.
Ooh.
So here's the thing. I would love to know the Vixen's game plan here. Like, what is her overall strategy here? Because, and we could have arguments and discussions about the whether this right or wrong, but this show has an effect on the careers of drag queens. And we could have a discussion about whether that should be the case. We can have a very valid discussion on whether an edited show where your character is created by the editors should have such an effect on your career. Okay, that's a whole other discussion. We can have that discussion. But why? What is the game plan when we have seen time and time and time again that the villains on this show, their career suffers as a result? That if you're perceived as a villain, your career suffers. Ask Roxy Andrews. Ask Fifi O'Hara. Okay? If you're perceived as a villain, your career suffers as a result. Okay? Fifi O'Hara went all the way to the top 4 of All Stars 2. I don't think that bitch ever leaves Florida. Okay? Fifi O'Hara was the most memorable part of seasons 4. Went to the top 3 of season 4. And was one of the most memorable queens in All Stars 2. She works, but not as much as the other queens. So, what is the Vixen's game plan here when she sees this?
I feel like there are a few things, and I think a lot of it is contingent on how smart she is. You know, I think that probably part of it is that, like you said, they're probably honestly just exhausted, and I would probably pop off too for a bit if I was trying to make a comment and Eureka kept cutting me off. But I think from what I'm understanding is her game plan is people are going to perceive me to be one way regardless. No matter what I do, I'm going to walk out of this experience with an image or, my story is going to be out of my hands. So if I'm the one that's in control and the one that kind of initiates these arguments or these fights or whatever she says in the beginning, at least she sets herself up to kind of have control over what she says or how she attacks the other person, if that makes any sense. It's a reality TV tactic, in terms of she knows what will push Aquaria's buttons and she knows how she needs to react to Aquaria crying. She knows Eureka's a loudmouth, so I'm sure she knows that what statements to throw back at Eureka to get under her skin. Maybe it's just they're just trying to fight. The other argument would be that she just thought that everyone was too PC on season 9 and she's just trying to give good TV.
Well, she's really good friends with Shay, and I almost wonder if this is all speculation on my part, but if she thinks Shay was too nice and that Shay should have just gone in there and read a bitch. I don't know. It's a silly tactic, because what you're talking about in terms of a reality TV show trope is these people go on the reality show one time, but then they have other careers outside of it. So you go on Survivor, you're not an actual survivalist. You're an accountant. And you just go back to your accounting career. Or you go back to your real estate career. You go back to your law career. These are actual drag queens. Okay? So the Vixen's going to have to work after this. She's going to see. So the benefit of going on this show is that your ticket price, that your quote goes up. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's a silly tactic. I don't know.
But I've seen the response to the Vixen from what I've been reading or when I casually scroll the internet, it's pretty positive. I think she's being applauded more for blatantly discussing issues that have been a part of Drag Race fandom and culture for a long time. I think people are more championing that than focusing on the potential villain edit that she may be getting,
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with you. But if I'm a club promoter, I'm going to be like, this bitch is difficult. Do I want to deal with a difficult bitch?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's finish this.
Oh, baby. I'm going to say something. You're going to listen.
What you did was you came for me and then you said, I'm going to go have a cigarette like you're going to run off. That was
trying to come for nobody, but you're going to listen. You clearly already had a negative opinion of me before you ever came in here.
So you already made that decision.
So you're saying that you've been being patient with me. So what you did is you created an opinion about me before you ever met me. That's why you have no respect for me. That's why you treat me with no respect. That's what I keep feeling, and that's what I keep feeling.
I've never been disrespectful to you.
Every time I say something, you got something negative to say.
Give me one example of when I've been disrespectful.
Just a minute ago, bitch.
What was it?
When I'm trying to talk to you, like, you always got to have something to say. Blah, blah, blah. And then she does the same
She did it. The difference between you and everybody else is everybody gets cut off,
to you,
but when you get cut off, you have to pout about it.
I admitted that.
That's the thing. That doesn't mean how you are is good. So you know what? You have your cigarette.
No.
Why are y'all still going? She don't know when to shut the
to be mad at somebody.
Look, you gave me a reason.
With it.
Poor Blair.
For it, and I am gonna run with it.
You so grown.
You and step off.
Okay. Let's go, girl.
Oh gosh.
Okay, well then, and the rest of Untucked is really just like they go smoke a cigarette, and then they just continue the same conversation separately, and then they come back and then strangely make up in 1 second.
You can tell that Mayhem was like, oh shit. Like if I go with Eureka, the Vixen's gonna think I'm picking her side. Mm-hmm. But if I don't go with Eureka, then it's gonna be this whole thing. Like that look on her face just speaks volumes. Yeah, but then they're fine afterwards. That's why I think that some of it's just because they know they want to make good TV.
Yeah, I think part of it is they're just tired. Like they get along fine. It's just fighting, but they're tired. Do you have any siblings?
I have a younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I just want to know if you ever fight like that.
Oh, we fought viciously.
Yeah, so like
fist fights.
Yeah, so. All right, any final thoughts on Untucked? I mean, that was the only clip that I pulled from Untucked. Was there any final thoughts on Untucked?
No, my big comment was poor Blair. She's like trying to call her mom, like in the corner. Mom, can you come pick me up? People are drinking here.
Blair did, I will say, Blair did get a lot of screen time today, and she got some good screen time. Yeah, did we get any big final thoughts on the episode? Good Blair screen time. There was a little bit more Cameron Michaels today than usual. Again, no confessionals.
No confessionals. That's the 3 runway looks. That was really all I could tell you she did this episode. Great for Blair. They're really setting her up. You can tell that like Rue likes her a lot, which is exciting for her. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a great cracker episode.
Mm-hmm.
And who else? It's so interesting that it's Drag Race and then Untucked it's funny watching them immediately back to back because the tone is so much different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like they are 2 different shows. I thought Eureka was going to deck the Vixen. Like they were in that's very rare on the show that queens like get in each other's faces like that. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. I don't know.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week and every week as we discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Season 10. So, for Evan Ayres, and Aileen Taylor the Latte Boy, and myself,
sashay away. Until next week.
Want to share your thoughts about Drag Race? Email us at dragracerecap@gmail.com. If you want to help the show, leave us a review on iTunes. The more positive reviews we get, the higher we move up in the rankings, and that helps the show find a bigger audience. If you want to help the show even more, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/dragracerecap. For as little as $1 a month, you gain access to exclusive bonus content not available on the main podcast feed. For up-to-the-minute news about the show, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dragracerecap and follow us on Twitter at dragracerecap. To find all of our old episodes, visit us at our website at dragracerecap.com. Taylor has his own podcast. It's called Pod Is My Co-Pilot, and you can find it at podismycopilot.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor on Instagram and Twitter at PIMCTaylor. Want to hear me talk about Drag Race even more? Well, then listen to me on One-on-One with Larry Flick every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on Entertainment Weekly Radio, Channel 105 on Sirius XM Radio. You can also find me on my other podcast, Catching Up with Mike and Joe, available at catchinguppodcast.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joe Betance. That's JoeBetance.